now, looking out my front window, it's a very cool, drizzly, rainy Friday morning. And I am so glad that I chose yesterday afternoon while episode number 100 of the model ship build was uploading. It was nice yesterday. Now I got the extra lumber. And what this is it's walnut. This is all that is left of the lumber that I had, walnut lumber I had for the little mantle clock that I made a couple of years ago. And for this clock that I want to build for the free draw, I want to use walnut again because it looked really nice. Now the clock that I'm going to show you is the mantle clock. And the clock I'm about to build is not going to look anything like it, except it's going to have the same dial. Anyway, there's something very important that I want my regular viewers to fully understand here. And that is this. Now, it is extremely important that you fully understand that this draw is only open to members of this Facebook group. I can't assign you a number unless I receive a request via this Facebook site. Anyway, just want to make this really clear. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't watch and enjoy the clock build or make comments. Yeah, the comments will be open. And I'll look forward to receiving your comments and suggestions. And you can poke fun at my mistakes as per usual. However, I can't assign you a number for the draw unless you are a member of this group. So, okay, you've heard the disclaimer, and I can imagine that some of you are thinking, well, now how do I join that group? Well, first of all, you've got to live in Winnipeg. And if you lived here about a month ago, you would think this is the last place in the world that I want to live. Anyway, this is what that walnut can look like after it's finished. I think probably everybody knows what walnut looks like. Now, this is not about this clock. I'm just showing it to you here so that you can sort of see the dial. Because the dial I'm going to use, best I remember, it's identical to this in size and in design. Another thing that's going to be different about the clock I'm going to make, well, actually several things. First of all, I'm making a wall clock, and this is a mantle clock. And also, this has a mechanical movement, and the clock that I'm going to make is going to have an electronic movement, a battery movement. Now, this is a chiming clock, and so will be the battery movement. Anyway, let's go down in the workshop where that lumber I bought yesterday is and see if we can get something cut up today. Yeah. Here's the other piece of walnut that I bought yesterday. Now, when I was making this monstrosity here, about half a year or so ago, I was getting quite a few comments from a young fellow who collects clocks. And he collects Dutch clocks. He's actually Dutch. And one of the clocks that he mentioned that he had, he called it a Frisian tail clock. And I thought, what? And so I Googled it, Frisian tail clock. Sure enough, it exists. And I thought, I was planning on doing a clock for my next free draw, and being as that most of the people in this Facebook group that I'm a member of here in Winnipeg are Dutch, why not make it, the Frisian tail design? The case comes down and then it kind of has this little bulge on the bottom. And it's not going to be fancy like a Dutch clock, that's for sure. but it'll have that basic design, the Frisian tail. Now, I'd heard of Friesland because my wife was Dutch, and she came over from Holland when she was 5. And because I'm an introvert and she was an extrovert, whenever we'd go out, we went out to her friends, which were almost always Dutch. So I heard about Friesland and Frisians, but I'd never heard of a Frisian tail clock in all the 45 years that we were married. And yeah, anyway, I've got to take some measurements here, and also I got to clean up this horrendous mess here. I'd forgotten just how bad it was. We're probably not going to be doing any cutting today. And I've also got to design, find out, just how far down from the pendulum bob to the hand shaft, the distance, so that I get the bulge on the bottom of the case just in the right place, stuff like that. And then get on the computer and make a few simple designs, and then I can, I don't want to be cutting that board wrong and having to go and get another one. By the way, if you have a walnut tree in your yard, you're rich and you just don't know it. This package is not the way it was mailed to me, by the way. I just keep it in there. Okay, now this electronic movement is without question the best I've ever heard for having a real nice realistic sound. And what I need to do is to make sure that I'm not going to be designing the case so that the pendulum bob is going to be too long or too short. In other words, I want to figure out what is the longest, in other words, I can go here. I'm going to have to redesign this stem here. When I ordered this movement from Craft Time Clockery, I told them I don't need any of the pendulum or pendulum rods because I've already got. Well, it turns out that this has got to be modified just a little. I should have, taken it, but I didn't. Anyway, it's another story. I'm telling you more than you need to know here. Okay. So the longest it can be would be about 15.5 inches. Call it 15 inches to play it safe. I can always, make the case shorter, but I can't make it longer. So, yeah. And the dial here, it's the same as the one upstairs. I'm not sure about the hands yet. So anyway, those of you who are in this Facebook group, and that's where you're going to be requesting a number, generally what happens is I find that people start requesting a number right away. And that's fine. But what if we get to the end of this and you think to yourself, my goodness, that's the ugliest clock I've ever seen. I wouldn't hang that up in the barn. How do I get my number removed? Well, I guess what I'm saying is you don't have to request a number right away if you don't want to. Wait and see how it goes, and yeah, if you like what you see, then request a number. The person who requests the number first doesn't have any better chance of winning than the person who requests the number last. Unless it happens to be like poor Stephanie in the last draw. I think it was the salt and pepper shakers. And yeah, she just missed it by about 2 hours. So she's actually number 1. I told her that she would be number 1 in this draw. So Stephanie V, yeah, you're number 1 already. Unless you don't like it, then you can always withdraw your number. Well, you know what? You can always give it to the thrift store. It looks as though we're going to have to wait for the computer design until tomorrow. Yeah, I ran out of time here. And as far as when will we have the draw, I really don't know. I have found from experience it always takes me a lot longer to do these projects than I think. And there's another factor now, and that is that I find I am slowing down. I don't like to be spending the big long hours in the workshop like I used to. But I will do a daily update, and I'll be putting it on this Facebook group site. And you know the drill. This is the 11th time that we've done this. So if you're interested and you want a number, in the comments below, not on the YouTube site, but on the Facebook site, just request a number. In the meantime, thanks for watching, And all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.